Alright, I made it back in here to this opening. Back in here, and there's a big oak hammock. I don't know if you can see behind me, there's a bunch of oaks. It's pretty open. Bunch of oaks back in here. Some right here behind me. But I'm gonna keep going through here. I'm looking for a hunter sign, and I'm marking trees to climb, and I'm looking for sign. And I'm also looking at these acorn trees, seeing what kind they are, and it looks like all laurel oaks in here. And I'm looking for some possibly water oaks or some other type of oak tree in here that may produce earlier. And go ahead and find stand locations and figure out what kind of winds I can hunt in here while I'm in here. Get it all done so I don't have to really come back in here. Alright. I didn't make it 20 yards from I last talked to you. And right here by this cypress swamp. Right there. I just jumped a good deer. Just bedded up. A good deer. I couldn't get my camera on fast enough, but it just ran right over here. I'm 50 yards off a road. And me and Walt seen some bucks crossing right here. So I was like, Walt's been wanting to look at it. And I just drove by it, and I was like, I'm gonna go in there and look. And sure enough, I done jumped one deer by itself, so I'm thinking, could be a doe, could be a buck, I'm not sure, but let's walk over there and see what it was bedded in. Alright, I don't know if y'all can see these cypress trees. There's an old waterway out there. I was just over in here, super thick, as you can tell. I found the bed. Let me show it to you. Right here, you can see, right there, up underneath these limbs, you can see how matted down that is. And look what's around it. It's super thick. There's a little bit of an opening that way, and just super thick. That's the way I come from. And the deer ran out that way towards the road, so they got a good escape. Pretty interesting right here. They may get a camera right here, 50 yards off the road in this little opening. I'm gonna go back to this pinch point, because that's really where I want to put a camera, but we'll see. If you ever see bucks doing something, you see it more than once, you better pay attention. You better go in there and scout it and figure it out, because there's a reason why they're doing it, and they're probably going to keep doing it year after year. So capitalize on it. That's what we're trying to do here. Alright, I'm in my pinch point, so this is what it's going to look like. Looks all grass. And what I have is there's water out there. There's water over here. And it's, I don't know, about 60, maybe 70 yards wide out there. So that's the smallest point to funnel deer. So you should be able to play off any kind of wind and sit on one side or the other and be able to shoot. So we're going to pick out some trees for that. And I just found this white oak right here. You can see it's different. It's a different tree that's right here. So we're about to look up under it, see if we find any old acorn caps and see if it's been producing. Because if it has, it's something different amongst all these other acorn trees that may pull the deer right here to this spot. Then we could get set up pretty close and get that shot for early season when these acorns start dropping. So finding some old caps. They've been burnt. They burnt this area. Has some good green growth and vegetation coming back in here. It should be everything a buck needs. Isolation, cover, water, food, all the browse they want. I mean, that's a recipe for a good spot for a buck just to live. He ain't got to come out. This is very secluded, hard to get into. It's great. It'd be great water access if you had a small boat or a canoe. So there are acorn gaps, so we need to monitor this. I'm gonna mark this on a map, and we're gonna keep looking. We're gonna find that best spot to that's what this tree kind of looks like. It's not the biggest tree, but we're gonna find the best spot to put a camera here pretty soon. It's not. So here's one reason I love using my saddle for trees like this. Now don't get me wrong, you can get a climber in this, but you get up there and you can get right up there amongst that stuff and see you got all the greenery, all the back cover, and you kind of just ride up in them trees and you fit right in. But the coolest thing about that is when the sun hits this side of the tree, you'd stand out on a tree stand. But with your saddle, you're on the back side of that tree, and you can just easily slide around the edge of that tree, and you can shoot out here. So you got all this. We're right here against the water. Got all this. The sun's bright, but that white oak tree's right over here, 30 yard shot. But you got great cover, and you can use a tree to hide behind, which I really like. So there's one tree. Now I want to find a tree on the other side so I can hunt this either wind. And we're also going to iron out our access routes while we're in here. I'm going to mark places we could get a boat in here, and then I'm going to try to mark a way to get in and out of here as quiet as possible without crossing over where I think the deer trails / buck trails are going to be at. So I like to do all this while I'm in the woods. I want to do it all so I don't have to come back in here, except maybe to check a camera a few weeks before season. I want to just slip in here and hunt. And that's another reason I like to do all my scouting during off season and post season, because I want to know my areas. When I go in and hunt them, I want to already know my whole area. I don't want to have to get down and do in-season scouting. I want to go ahead and know this whole place, where the trees are, where the bedding is possibly at, where the trails are already using, and have this whole place figured out before deer season. And that way I could put the least amount of scent as possible in here and have a high opportunity hunt, my first hunt in here. Alright, finally time to hang the camera. So I didn't find anything I really wanted to hang the camera on back there. There was no definite spot to get a fair representation of what I think's in this area. So I come back to where that deer jumped up at, this little bed in there. There's a little opening right here by the water, 40 yards off the road. Right here, some cypresses. As you see, it's super thick. Cypresses. I'm gonna hang the camera up there. It's about 7 foot right now. I don't want to get too high where it could possibly be seen from the road. Then you got all this, the water out there, and right back in here is where the deer was bedded. And it ran out, sound like right up through here. So we're gonna just put it right here, see what all kinds of deer we have coming in here, because I think very possibly they could be walking the edge of these cypresses right down through here, and I just want to find out. So We'll see what this camera comes up with. I'm walking out, and you can see deer tracks right here. There's some over here. There's like a little trail cutting through these cypress right here to the road. So I found the access that the deer were walking, confirming it with tracks. I got my camera pretty much on this trail, but about 20 yards behind me, so pretty interesting, pretty neat little spot. So I'm just walking this field edge, and I see this little tunnel right here. I'm like, man. So there's a little trail that comes in here. You see it gets real shaded. It's just super thick. And then boom. Right here's a big old bed. Deer can just lay up in right here. And then it kind of tunnels. Goes up in there just a little ways, but you see how thick this stuff is. And basically, this bed right here is what these deer are seeing. They're watching this field, but they're sitting in the shade, watching the field. Nothing can come from behind them because it's so thick without them hearing them. So they're just laid up here in this and just watching out here, watching this field. Pretty cool. I've noticed that a lot out here on these field edges early season. The deer would just lay 10 yards or so, lay in the shade right here on these fields. So another reason I like to walk, I find all these and mark it, and you can set up and kind of hunt accordingly to all these little spots. If this was a spot I was going to hunt in this field early season right here, I would probably come in here a couple days or something before the hunt, and I'd probably pull up here at daylight and walk to the entrance of this field and just stand just inside the wood line with a pair of binoculars and watch it and see where all the deer come out at. And then depending on the wind I'm going to have that opening day, come in here and try to hunt them after you kind of know where they're coming out of and going to. There goes another great example. I ain't been far from bedding. So you got this. It's kind of like got little holes. Check this bed out. Back in here. Look, it's all the way down to the dirt. See that? All these leaves. And then this is all dirt. And there's another one right there. Super cool. There's another bed right over there past that tree. But basically, these deer sitting. You got these low limbs that give them cover and shade. And look, they can see this much of the field. They're about the whole thing. And there's the entrance where everybody would walk in. So they can see everything from right here. It is a perfect spot for a deer to lay up. And as you can tell, the bed's down to the dirt. And there's tree rubs all in here, look. There's rubs there. Rub on that one. There's a rub on that big tree back there. A bunch of rubs in here. It's probably a good buck bed right here. Probably feels comfortable laying in here. There's at least 3 beds all the way down to the dirt in here. Could be a bachelor group. It's pretty interesting. Be a good place to come early in the morning and see what comes out of here. I'm in here where these bucks come up out of. There's a fallen tree right here. There's a big root base. A little bit of sun. Just super thick. Well, people say that bucks won't go into thick stuff when they're in velvet. Maybe they hadn't been in the south, because I've seen it tons of times. And this place right here, I just had to get on my hands and knees and crawl in here to get in here. It's so thick. And this right where a batch or a group of bucks were, right here in this thicket. They will go into these big thickets, even though they're growing their horns still. But like right here, one was laid. There was a spot there. There was a couple of looking spots up in there. And down there by that root base. But it's getting hot. But bucks will go into thickets, even when they're growing their horns. They love that security. Mature buck, they're gonna pick a security over most anything. Alright, I'm about to start walking out.